Anyway, excellent value. Thank you very much for that, Sam. Greatly appreciated. It gives me great excitement, actually, to introduce the two next guests. One I met last night, the other and I go back too long away. So I'll probably introduce John first. So John Hellaby is actually a strong man, for those of you who aren't aware. The massive girth of the man pulls ambulances sometimes just on the weekends for fun, as you may understand. He straps them around his waist. That's not a joke. He straps an ambulance around his waist. I've seen him, and he pulls it forward. That's the crazy stuff he does. But he's got over 30 years of tech experience, largely in the area of, especially in the area of content marketing. Yes, social media, but content marketing in particular. He is the CEO of Check My House Price and also Market Buy. Both organisations are really, really relevant within the PropTech community, so I'll leave you to ask him about what they do later. But in more things than anything else, John helps people understand how the best way to market content at a given demographic or an audience is. So John, please come up on stage. Give him a big round of applause. Then we have Max. Max does not pull ambulances behind him. However, Max is a very, very talented cyclist. In fact, if you ask him about his dietary and nutrition requirements, well, I hope you've got half an hour.
He eats more than me.
He eats more than him, but he looks like that.
Calorie deficit.
Yeah. Yes, but beyond that, Max is also the founder of Hobson Group, powered by EXP, a venture dedicated to partnering with real estate agents, teams and independents, and today both of them are going to bring you their tips on content marketing. This has actually been, I've had a lot of questions from the audience not knowing that this is coming, so I hope that this is a very valuable session for you, and I'll hand over to these two young professionals. Give them a big round of applause.
All right, so today we're going to talk about content marketing and how you can use AI to leverage this. So what I want from you is a quick show of hands for who is currently, say, posting on social media once a week. All right, who's posting more? Who's posting once a day? Oh, I like it. I thought you were meaning once a month. All right, so who here uses ChatGPT, any sort of AI, like video AI, Minvo, to create content? All right, a few of you, cool. So does everyone have ChatGPT on their phone? All right, cool. For those of you who don't, we're going to pull up some slides very soon as they're slowly coming up.
Should come up. There we go.
If you don't have ChatGPT on your phone, quickly scan one of the QR codes. So if you're on Google Play or Android here, or Apple over here, and let's download ChatGPT, and you can follow along with us.
So the key reason for this slide too, you're going to see that I'm not actually the graphic designer at Market Buy or Check My House Price or anywhere, and for very good reason. But I do apologise. I put these together at lunch after Tanya's segment, which was absolutely mind-blowing. And 50% of the room said, I need to do one thing that I can turn into a habit. And doing that has actually changed how I use AI, how Max uses AI. And in thinking about that, I realized what it was that moved us into that position where we're using it daily, and we're using it for just about everything. In fact, I learned quantum tunneling to help my grade 12 son with a physics assignment using ChatGPT, right? And so what it is we downloaded the ChatGPT app to our phones, and rather than it being Google, remember how we would all go to Google and we'd go, hey, Google, what's X, right? We'd come up with a question for it, right? And it'd bring up all of these different websites that were, SEO configured in order to try and answer that question. You'd go through 6 sites and then you'd kind of get the shits and give up because it didn't answer the question specifically, yeah? I now do that with ChatGPT. So if you download the app to your phone and start creating the habit of talking to ChatGPT and getting that learning and that information, what we're going to give you today on top of that is going to help you develop the habit to start using it for your content marketing, which is going to be fundamentally massive. Now, something from Tanya's polls as well, like her presentation blew me away. It was amazing. I want to play with that slide program she's got that does that live stuff. That was so cool. There was about 20% of the room that had some element of nervousness around AI. So before we jump into this, while everyone's downloading the ChatGPT app, I want to give you a breakdown of where AI is at today. And we can all rest easy. It's not Skynet. If anyone grew up in the 80s watching Terminator? It's not. So Skynet as an AI, the way it was represented is it's actually artificial general intelligence. And artificial general intelligence is defined as an AI that has the ability to create, define, and then complete its own goals. So what that means is the AI could wake up in the morning and go, hey, I want a cup of coffee. So it's created its own goal. And then it goes about creating that cup of coffee for itself. That's artificial general intelligence. Where AI is at right now is it cannot create its own goal. It can only complete our goals. It's not actually intelligent. Not in the sense that it appears to be where it communicates with us.
I'm going to butt in here because John has a very good analogy of this. I don't know if you're going to bring it up, but...
I was about to, yeah.
Yeah. You go.
Yep.
You go.
So if you think of... Max and I have done this all around the country, so he's like, hurry up and get to it. If you think of ChatGPT as a librarian at a library that has access to all of the important knowledge in human history, and that librarian can grab any word, any sentence, and compile it together in response to a question that you ask that librarian. It can't think. What it does is it goes, those words combined look like the right type of pattern to answer the pattern that you have given me in your question. Does that make sense to everybody? So it's not thinking. It appears like it is. It can imitate the way we speak, and we'll show you how to get it to do that as well in a little bit. But it can't think for itself, which kind of lets us all off the hook, because it's not going to go, those humans, maybe the planet would be better off without them. It's not at that level. It can't do that. All it can do is create patterns to reply to a pattern that we give it, which is a question. And that's going to form the basis of exactly what we're talking about today. But before we get to that, we're going to give you a framework. Do you want to handle this, or shall I?
Which framework are we given?
Reg.
Reg.
We're going to introduce everyone to Reg.
Reg.
Look, we're going to introduce you to Reg, but before we do, the fastest way to penetrate a market, traditionally there's been three methods. Well, two methods, sorry. There's now a new method. First is spend a hell of a lot of money. Be on every billboard, be on every bus stop, fill the letterboxes to overflowing, and hammer. Is that fair? We've all seen that. We've seen agents rise to the top by doing that, yeah? Huge dollars, right? Way too expensive for the average person, for us mere mortals. The second way has been time and market. If you're in the market long enough, and we all know the agent who's that 20-year veteran who does $800K a year just from farming their database, yeah? I don't have 20 years. Now we have a third option, courtesy of AI, and that's content marketing at scale. We can now deliver transparency, authority, expertise through a process of value provision at scale and rapidly rise to the top of our marketplace. And we can do it for cents on the dollar. And that's what this workshop's going to be about. All right, Maxie, I've dominated for a bit there, mate. Do you want to jump in?
Yeah. All right.
You can introduce everyone to Reg.
So, prompt engineering. Has anyone heard of that? All right. So, put simply, it's just how you structure your prompts. So, John uses Reg. I like to use one called Relic. They're both fairly similar. It's basically about, all right, here we go. As many questions as required to get all the information you need, one question at a time. Okay, so Reg is like, set the role. So when you're writing a prompt out, you want to make sure that you have these three things at least in that prompt. I like to use a framework called Relic, which is similar. It's role, exclusions, length, inspiration, and context. Here, set the role. You could say, I'm a real estate agent. I am in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia, and I've been in the market for 10 years. Or you could say, I'm a new agent, I've only been in the market for 2 years. So you're setting the role of who you are as that agent. So that's making sure that ChatGPT knows, okay, out of all the millions of pieces of data it has, we're focusing on real estate and specifically real estate in a certain area. Set the expertise, that's very similar. So what we could say is you're going to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, the expertise is what we're making ChatGPT to be, right?
Well, we're setting the instruction for ChatGPT across the board. So essentially, as we set the role, and we'll build this out in the prompts, you guys are going to get a link to all of the prompts we do today to show this. We're going to say, you're going to be this, you're going to behave as this, with these specific expertise. Because we want it to narrow down into a specific area. We don't want it to pull information from quantum physics, for example, to help build us real estate content.
So that might look like you are my advanced marketing assistant focusing on real estate in Brisbane. Social media and email marketing may be its expertise. So then it knows exactly what you're going to be doing. And then the goal is I'm looking for lead generation through multiple social media content, like a content marketing plan, and then you can set the rest of the prompt from there. So once you've got those three things in your prompt, you're able to then, it's the best way to structure that prompt.
It is. And what it does is it defines the boundaries within which you want the AI to work. If the AI is not working within boundaries, it's going to pull stuff from all over the place. Have you heard of AI hallucinations? A few people have, few people nodding. AI hallucinations is not when AI goes on a journey to find itself and indulges in ayahuasca, right? It basically pulls data from the wrong place and creates something that you look at and go, yeah, right, I wish I was that high.
And a lot of the time it's like location based. So it might pull something that is relevant in the US rather than in Brisbane or in Queensland because you haven't specified exactly where you want it to be.
All right, should we jump in?
Yep.
So let's get hands-on with this. By the way, if you've downloaded the app, you can play along and follow with what we're doing. With the reg question, you finish everything by saying, hey, you're going to ask me X number of questions, right, to learn any extra information that you need. We're not going to do that question part as we walk through here, purely because that is time-consuming. I highly recommend that you do it when you're doing it yourself, though.
All right, so what John's doing here is he's setting the role, and he's also going to set the expertise. Yeah, if you've got a phone, you can actually talk straight into ChatGPT, and it makes it a hell of a lot easier.
Because I can talk faster than I can type.
Now, see the level of depth he's putting into these prompts? They're not just like one sentence long. You're really setting the scene as to what you want ChatGPT to do, because the more input you give it, the better output it's going to give. Or not the more input, the better input you give it. So garbage in, garbage out.
You just took my line. Garbage in, garbage out, 100%. So you can see here, I've told it, I've dictated terms to it, I've told it exactly how I want it to behave, and it's already going, hey, that sounds awesome. This is how I can help you in this role. And it's already starting to suggest ideas. I'll be really honest with you, I typically ignore this first prompt because all I've told it to be is an expert. I haven't said, hey, this is what I want from you as yet.
It's a bit generic compared to what we're going to show you.
So this is our first step here. The best first step is always to come up with ideas, right? Different ideas for content creation. Who sits there at a blank page and feels insulted by the blinking cursor, right? Anyone? Am I the only one who has that neuroses? Okay, we've got a few people. All right, good. I was worried there. I might have needed to check into my psych. Look, if we can get past that idea blockage, that writer's block, often things start to flow. So I like to start with, hey, give me some ideas to create content. We're going to start with video content.
And after this, we're going to show you a really, really cool app that you can actually download straight from our QR code, which just will revolutionize the way you edit and repurpose your video content for socials.
Someone give me a marketplace that they're operating in right now, please. Harvey Bay. Yes, we'll share a link.
We'll be able to share a link so that you guys can actually go to this exact conversation and take it with you. You can, by all means, photograph, do whatever you need to do while we're doing it, but you will also get a link emailed out to you so that you can actually follow along this conversation.
I think we've got a bunch of other prompts as well, which we can send out.
Yeah, you guys have got a
Yeah,
huge
like
database.
huge database of prompts.
I should have a huge database of prompts, but I just make up the prompts as I go every single time. I'm not as efficient as I'd like to be. All right, so we've got 10 ideas here. We'll scroll back up and have a look. All right, market update video blog, featured property tours, community spotlights. Obviously, that's great for highlighting amenities, events, things like that. Success stories and testimonials, expert interviews, real estate tips and advice, live Q&A sessions, behind the scenes at open houses, local event coverage. So straight off the bat, it's given us 10 potential ideas. Who's feeling a little bit excited about some of those ideas? Yeah, can I get a hand? So there's 10 ideas we're happy with?
Wow, lots of excitement here.
9, 8, yep, okay, cool. So what I love to do, because this actually ties in really, really nicely into repurposing content and creating content at scale really, really quickly, which, let's be honest, we need to do because we don't actually have time to create content, whether we're running businesses, real estate agents, etc. So if we ask it to give us a whole bunch of tips that we could turn into video.
So he's just reiterating relevant to Hervey Bay because sometimes it can forget that initial prompt that you've put in where you've said Hervey Bay.
Not bad. I'd rate them about a 7 out of 10. What about you guys? You reckon there's some gold there you could use? Pick one you'd like to see expanded on.
The first home buyer in Hervey Bay would be an interesting one.
Wow, that sounds heavily loaded. First home buyer in Hervey Bay. All right, let's go. Now, you guys are going to love this. Who's already 2 lines in and going, holy hell, this is generic? Who feels this kind of sounds like the equivalent to elevator music as a speaker? Yeah? Yeah, it does. It really does.
Sometimes you can really tell when things are just written by ChatGPT.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And the words it uses. It's been moving too fast for me and I've been back and forth. Has it used the in the world of Hervey Bay real estate line yet? Did it throw that in? Okay.
Or comprehensive.
Now, this is a massive, massive problem because one of the things in order to actually succeed with content marketing in our marketplace is we have to be authentic. There is no point me standing up here and pretending to be the most professional, polished individual and then trying to pass myself off as a professor of macroeconomics. Because the moment I open my mouth, cognitive dissonance is going to kick in. By the way, that's a macroeconomics word. Do we know what cognitive dissonance is? Yeah, cool. Basically, it's a breakdown between what we expect and what we actually see. It's a breaking of trust. Because if I talk as though I am this haughty-taughty, polished individual, and then I walk up on stage and I'm like, hey, mate, how you going? You're going to look at me and go, what the just happened? And our brains are literally going to break. Any trust that I have built with you through content marketing is going to be destroyed in a single sentence. So our content marketing that we put out on video, written word, emails, blogs, it has to sound like us. It has to. Do Do you want to know how to make ChatGPT sound like you? Yeah? Cool. I'm going to show you. So here's a product that I use, and I've got Max using now. It's called Minvo. We're going to break down into what it actually does in a larger part shortly, but there's a small little side part of it that I really, really love. And it's the fact that it uses AI to transcribe your videos for its own purposes. This gives us an opportunity to take content that we can train ChatGPT with.
So another way you can do this is if you've got YouTube, you can go to the transcript section of your videos or someone else's videos, and you can take that transcript from the video as well. So that is another way if you don't have this up. This is Minvo. We got a
We've got a QR code for you. So there's something special about Minvo while this is doing this. Minvo will take long-form video and carve it up into social media reels using AI. It'll then subtitle it out automatically for you. It can even add B-roll footage into it automatically, emojis, all that sort of good fun stuff. And the coolest thing about it is until about midday tomorrow, you can get it on a lifetime deal where you buy it once and you've got it forever. And it's incredible. Like you get, I think the entry level, you get about 12 hours a month of video that you can upload and process and analyze. In true over-the-top style, I think I've got about 50 hours a month at the present. I'll never use 50 hours a month, but I was like, I pay for it once. Oh, it's 2 hours as the free one. There's the entry-level paid one is like $69 for life, and I think it's like, is that 2 hours a month, is it? Right, okay. But yeah, so now if we have a look at this script that's now been rewritten. All right. Hey everybody, if you're stepping into the market for the first time here in Hervey Bay, I've got some hot tips to make sure your first home purchase is a smooth sale. Let's break it down into 3 easy pieces of advice to keep in your toolkit. Let's go. Does that sound more like me? Far more than what the original did? It's as easy as that to get ChatGPT and just about any other AI tool to actually sound like you, to write your blogs, articles, everything like you. In fact, now that I've established that baseline, watch this.
Just here. Emily?
I've replaced video with Minvo.
He is. I'm not.
Sorry, I'm going to get Max to convert too.
The only reason why is because I've been using video AI for so long, and I just haven't actually got around to even checking out Minvo, which is the new one. But has anyone here been to our ChatGPT courses? Just a raise of hands. Yeah, a few of you. Okay, yeah. So video AI is what we originally showed. It's a very similar app. It's just not quite as capable as Minvo, which is what John will be showing you.
And we'll show you how to do some cool stuff with Minvo in a second. There's another question here.
Yeah, just quick question. Could we be making a new GPT by doing this stuff and having like a scripting GPT or like a
100% you could.
I was about to say that.
If you're at that level of usage with this, absolutely 100%. You could start building GPTs to just speed this up so you don't have to train it every single time.
Could I have a generic GPT and just use one, or should I make a bunch of different ones? One for videos, one for articles, one for emails?
That's a really good question. There's an argument for both ways, and that's exactly why you just all watch my brain short circuit, is because my brain went, I can see both sides of this. That comes down to personal preference. I actually start a new conversation for each individual business unit or each individual cylinder in my business. But then I'll keep that conversation going until that conversation becomes outdated, because obviously everything changes, and then I'll start again. And that's how I roll it. So I would treat GPTs in the exact same fashion, in that I would build an individual GPT based on the different cylinders within my business, so that it was trained specifically to that particular area. And I would continue to use that until such time as it became outdated and I needed to start again. Yeah.
Great. Any other questions from the floor? Please, at the back.
Yeah, Lee.
So individual GPT is, you can come up into, and I'll be honest, I haven't explored it anywhere near as much as I should have, but you can come up and create your own version of ChatGPT, which gates it permanently. So it becomes it's a chatbot within ChatGPT that is specifically gated, or like the boundaries with it keep it within a certain area specifically for you. So you train it to be what you want it to be specifically, and it stays as that. Whereas ChatGPT is really general. And so each conversation, you set the roles and things like that in that place with that Reg framework. When you build that GPT stays in that particular space that you want it to be in.
And if anyone was here for Bo's presentation, she had a Queensland legislation GPT, which was really good for anyone in property management and real estate.
Couple more questions.
How are we going for time, by the way?
You've got another 10.
Okay, cool.
Just a very quick one. I'm a bit shy, so it's probably a long question. Sorry about that. But so ChatGTP and ChatGTP4 are different.
So they are, in the sense that they're running off different engines. So you've got ChatGPT 3.5, you've got ChatGPT 4. The 4 is a more advanced version, more advanced engine, and also has the ability to use plugins, which will allow you to search the internet for real-time data. It has the ability to create imagery and all sorts of stuff like that as well. So there's a lot more functionality in 4. They're essentially the same product with different engines.
If you're using it heaps, it's worth it.
Very good. One.
Can you do API calls with GPTs, or is that more of a playground feature?
Can you do an API course or call?
API call.
I don't believe so at the current point in time, but that's one to check out and have a look at the documents on OpenAI for, because I haven't played with that.
I think it's at the playground.
Essentially, if you say use the Gmail system, you could set in the API and then categorize all the incoming emails, and then send it to one of the GPTs, and then it will reply email based on the context of the email.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I think there's a bit of risk with that too, but
can explore.
yeah. That's
sounds,
awesome.
That sounds epic, and we've got somebody who's doing that at the moment. Is that right?
Yeah, so you can definitely use OpenAI. You can use OpenAI API for pretty much anything, and if you've got any questions, just ask ChatGPT, and it will tell you. Yeah.
And that was going to be my next answer. Is so many things I just go, hey, ChatGPT,
Fantastic.
can you do this? All right, cool.
Oh,
so,
Ken's got a question. You're not.
Ken's got a question.
You know it's not going to be a smart one.
It's all good.
Can you, there's ChatGPT, but there's also Jasper and quite a few others. So, and I know both of you have used both Jasper and a few of the others. Can we just have a quick overview of, so people know that there's not only ChatGPT, but there's also other things you can use?
Yep, that's a really good question. I don't use anything else for content creation in terms of written word content creation. I'll show you Minvo, which I use for the video side of things. The reason I don't use anything else for content creation is because where I'm creating content, I am well experienced in that field. So of course, if it's spitting anything out that's inaccurate, I know it as a general rule. So I'm using it to, like, often I'll train ChatGPT to be a mini version of me. So therefore, anything that it is spitting out that is not quite right, I can catch it and move on from that. In regards to where I'm using it for learning and things like that, for example, you know, my 17-year-old who's currently studying physics, I have absolutely no idea about quantum tunneling. It actually sounds like teleportation to me. So I have to trust ChatGPT on that, but the consequences of it spitting wrong information to me are not that huge in that space. So will I go and check things and you know, make sure that it's correct? If the consequences are high, absolutely I will. If it's just, I'm going to look like an idiot in the local pub trivia quiz, I don't care. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm not using it like, and I, even with my kids and that, I won't let them use it to write their assignment for them. They're allowed to use it so that it can give them sources for them to go and learn.
Very good.
Did you want to handle Jasper? Because you've played with Jasper
It's
fun.
all about how you use it. Keep going.
Yes, pardon me?
Keep going. Yep.
Yeah, so Jasper, there's another, who here's heard of Jasper? So Jasper is, you would have seen the ads, they're pretty prevalent. They're more of a copywriting service, and it's a paid copywriting service. And I believe they guarantee that you won't get plagiarized, and it's all 100% unique output. I don't use Jasper much. I have dabbled in it a little bit. I've just found ChatGPT GPT to be way more advanced and better for me to use, because at the end of the day, I like editing my own stuff. I never take what ChatGPT has given me and put it straight to YouTube, or I've read it straight from the script, or put it straight up on my website. I'll always tinker around with it, because you got to, number one, fact check. Number two, make sure it's all in your brand voice, because as John said, you got to be building trust out here. And yeah, I just find ChatGPT to be the best option for that, and you don't have to pay as much money.
I like the flexibility of ChatGPT, that I can tell it what I want it to do, and I don't have to try and work within somebody else's confines in the way that they've built that, which is one of the reasons I went away from Jasper. And there was Word Wizard AI. There was like half a dozen of them. And in the end, I could just turn around to ChatGPT and say, I want this. And if it didn't spit, I go, no, you're wrong, do this. And that's what I liked about it, because I found it a lot faster.
Yep.
Have you dabbled with different presentations of the information, like through tables, pie charts, those sorts of things?
Yeah,
as well?
actually, I had a bit of fun with that. I haven't done it recently, like it was probably about 6 weeks ago, and I know there's been updates since. We actually started playing with market buyers data in the back end, like in terms of market data, what was happening, speed of offers, all of that sort of stuff, and had ChatGPT starting to compile a whole lot of reporting on it and information around it, so we could get some really cool insights. The problem that I found with that at this point, where it currently stands, is it's really, really cool, but it has very, very limited capability and capacity for that, which means that it breaks really quickly. Particularly if you're using a lot of data. And we were dealing with, 80,000 lines of data, and it started to just break, like after sort of 10 minutes of use, the sessions would time out, because it just couldn't cope. Yeah. Haven't done that. What I have done, and I love doing, is I'll take that and I'll get it to give me a whole lot of reasons and expand on them. I'll then get it to create a CSV file of all of those reasons, and I'll go into Canva and upload and create like 400 pieces of content based off those that it gives me in a list, and just bulk create. And like, I can create that in about 10 minutes, which is awesome. Quickly, so we're running out of time here. So last thing I want to show you guys, and this is super, super important, is video long form turned into short form in minutes. Now, we run a podcast through Check My House Price to just help demystify real estate for homeowners, help explain and break everything down. And I can see you're smiling, because the first one up there is property politics, which was interesting on TikTok, I tell you that. What this app does in that regard is we can upload the long form. So I think this was about 40 minutes, 48 minutes or something in that regard. It uses AI to go through, transcribe everything, and then pull out 18 to 20 moments that it thinks are ideal for social media using that AI. It then automatically cuts them up, automatically subtitles them, and puts a few emojis in, has a little bit of fun. And you can see here, like if we have a look at this one, go into continue editing, and while that's buffering, I'll show you. There we go. So you can see, we're not playing any audio. So that's all been done completely and utterly automatically. What I really like too is that we can go in and edit that video. Where is it? By going extend. So let's say I'm not happy with the particular segment that it grabbed out of that video. I can look at the transcript and highlight the parts of the transcript that I want to keep and then extend to there. So it removes all of that video editing that you guys need to do or try and figure out. That's just way too hard. Doesn't matter what app you're using. If you were pulling the little bars across or using the little scissors and cutting it and so forth, it just proved far too difficult, far too finicky. Here you can just jump in, look at the transcription and go, I want that text on video. That's the point that I'm trying to make. And away you go. Hit continue and done. You can then schedule to your social media from this. So you can post to social, SMS to phone, or you can just download it as a video.
And that's a big one. That can save a lot of time. And I think something we haven't actually covered today, and I'm just going to touch on really quickly, is why we're showing you this. And that is because at the moment on social media, video is prioritized. So a little hands up, who's using video for most of their social media content? Say 95% of it. All right, I know we've got Lee in the back. He's really good with video. There are a few other agents in here who are really good with video. It grows so much quicker through your social media accounts than what normal graphics and posting normal pictures would. So obviously you want to keep posting graphics, that's fine. But I would say 95% of my content, John's content, is video. And the reason this is because the algorithms pick up the video better, and they don't just show it to your followers, they show it to people who are interested in the hashtags you use, the words you use in your caption. And if you're able to grab the audience in the first 5 to 10 seconds of that video, like Mike Sherrard said before, it will then promote that video out to more people. And that's when you start to see the views go from 10 to 15, they might go to 100 to 500 to 1,000 to 5,000 views. And just being consistent with that is really how we want you to build trust and authority in your marketplace. So apps like this, which you've got the QR code there, help you do that. Like I used to do this by hand, manually editing these videos out and cutting them from big podcasts for people. And it just took so long, where this can just save you hours and hours a week.
Yeah, massive, massive, massive. I had a thought that was important to share too, but it's disappeared out of my head.
Go ahead.
I haven't had anywhere near enough caffeine today to do it.
We are close to time, so was there anything else that you wanted to share? I'm conscious we got a few questions in there while you were finishing the presentation.
I think the key thing is have that app on your phone, ChatGPT app on your phone. Start using it as you used to use Google when you go and ask those questions. Have a play. Make sure you're getting on video. Oh, the other thought, that was the thought that escaped my head. No matter what social media that you're posting your videos to, enter the location as your local location. Reels are free money right now on social media. Stories are free money on social media if you're using the right hashtags across both of them. Okay? But one of the problems with free money on social media is it's from everywhere around the world. Someone in Nigeria is not going to buy a house in Hervey Bay, for example, right? Not until they move here, at least. So you don't want them watching your video because you're a real estate agent. You want people in your local market to be watching your video. So help the algorithm out, get you those free views, that free attention by putting the location and attaching the location to your video when you post it. And that will help you narrow it down. So you're not just going out to the world, which is wonderful, and let's be honest, seeing that views number climb up on our social media makes us all feel good. It's a great dopamine hit, but it doesn't actually impact money in your pocket. It's the people locally seeing that impacts the money in your pocket, and that's why we put that location tag on those videos.
Fantastic. A big round of applause for John and Max. That was rich in practical tips, and no doubt you took plenty of it. Just a quick reminder, there is a free course on agents.ai on ChatGPT. So please feel free to access and download that. But really appreciate the great insights that the two gents have shared with us this afternoon.